Hard to believe one of the best Christian films out there is actually animated, isn't it? The Prince of Egypt, released in 1998, was conceived as an animated adaptation of the 1956 film The Ten Commandments, which was based on the book of Exodus, where Moses led the children of Israel out of the captivity of the Egyptians. This version features an all-star cast: Val Kilmer, Ray Fiennes, Michelle Pfeiffer, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Goldblum, Patrick Stewart, just to name a few. It was the first traditionally drawn feature by DreamWorks Pictures, but also features CGI. Just looking at this film makes you want to see it. This is one of the most gorgeous looking animated films to come out of the late 90s. But good visuals does not immediately create a good film, so let's get into the meat of it. I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with the story of Moses, but if not, here's how it goes. In essence, the Hebrews are being held slaves by the Egyptians, and Pharaoh makes the order that all Hebrew baby boys are to be thrown into the river. This is to stop the growing Hebrew population from overthrowing him. In order to keep her newborn son safe, Yocheved has him placed in a basket and sends it down the Nile River. The basket sails to Pharaoh's palace, where the child, named Moses, is taken in by Pharaoh's wife. Now, as an adult, Moses slowly learns the truth of his past, and after killing a slave driver, flees Egypt. Then years later, he is appointed by God through a burning bush to return to Egypt to free the children of Israel.
So I have come down to deliver them out of slavery and bring them to a good land. A land flowing with milk and honey.
The film, for the most part, is a good representation of the Book of Exodus. A lot of this would have to do with the fact that Jeffrey Katzenberg, co-founder of DreamWorks, called in biblical scholars and theologians to help the film be more accurate and faithful to the original story. In fact, the film makes it clear from the get-go that they were confident with the integrity of the original source material. He made the right call in making this decision, as all these people praised the studio for reaching out to these experts after previewing the developing film. Every major detail is present, from the burning bush, the 10 plagues, and the parting of the Red Sea. It even ends with Moses descending from Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments. Of course, I do find that some liberties were taken. It's nowhere near the risks taken with Jesus Christ Superstar or Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, but it's worth pointing out. There's a chariot race between Moses and Ramses, which would soon result in Moses giving the suggestion that Ramses should have the opportunity to prove his responsibility. So he's made Prince Regent and is offered Zipporah as a wife, which he refuses due to her stubbornness and offers Moses in his stead.
You will show the proper respect for a prince of Egypt.
But I am showing you all the respect you deserve. None!
Michelle Pfeiffer has played a fairly similar character in Grease 2, which was her breakout role. What the heck am I doing comparing a masterpiece of a film to that sequel that fails to live up to its predecessor in so many fashions? I'm not letting myself get sidetracked here. Ugh. The film tells us that Moses' biological brother and sister, Aaron and Miriam, meet up with Moses as an adult while he is still seen as Prince of Egypt. They try to tell him of how they're related to each other, but continually dismisses them until Miriam sings the same lullaby her mother sung as she was sending Moses away.
Hush now, my baby, be still, love, don't cry.
Also, when Ramses increases the workload the Hebrews are to have, the Hebrews shun Moses at first, but Miriam gives him the motivation he needs to keep trying, which soon leads to the first of the 10 plagues. As far as I'm aware, the Bible doesn't state anything regarding such events. However, I feel as though the film would not be complete without the scenes.
When did God start caring about any of us? In fact, Moses, when did you start caring about slaves?
I have to stress once more how impressive the animation is. The combined usage of traditional animation and CGI is among the best the 90s has to offer. Even to this day, it's gorgeous. Not only is it visually stunning, it also lends itself to symbolism. The transitions you see and the many different shots the film establishes are not just present for flair. Very often, you'll see blue representing the Egyptians and orange representing the Hebrews. I'm not entirely sure if it's on purpose, but as you watch the film more, you start to notice this symbol more clearly. Then we have a dream sequence where the animation looks more static, but it's done on purpose because A, it is shown through hieroglyphics, and B, they want to show that it's a dream. The most important element of a dream sequence in a film, especially in an animated film, is to have a style different from the rest of the film to help differentiate it, and this film delivered spectacularly in that aspect. The songs in this film, written by Stephen Schwartz, are superb. Many favorites include Deliver Us, Through Heaven's Eyes,
Look at your life through heaven's eyes.
and The Plagues. It has this sort of gospel-sounding, inspirational feel. There's a lot of weight to the numbers, especially in relation to the characters. The film was actually nominated for 2 Academy Awards, both of which relating to the soundtrack. It only earned one of them, Best Original Song for When You Believe. It was both a musical number in the movie, and there was a pop version during the end credits sung by Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston in a duet, though the award was for Schwartz's version. While the musical numbers are spectacular, the score by Hans Zimmer are just as wonderful to listen to. Everything about this soundtrack is just beautiful and sets the tone well. This film's a prime example of an animated film that takes itself seriously, not just for how it wants to be displayed, but also the tone that is set. It's a much more serious film than a lot of other animated works, and I think that's a good thing. I'm welcome to the more cartoonish nature of some animated films, but I also love to see something dramatic more often with animation. This film delivered very well on that, and its presentation doesn't disappoint. Its legacy led to a direct-to-video prequel, which is based on Joseph from the Book of Genesis. Just like its predecessor, it has an all-star cast. Ben Affleck, Mark Hamill, Richard Hurd, Jodie Benson, Dan Castellaneta, Jess Harnell, and so on. Also, there was a staged musical version in recent years. I think I'd like to check that out sometime, especially knowing how amazing this film is. It's a sin to not have watched this movie because you'd be missing out on a lot of impressive work that was pulled off here. If you haven't seen this film already, I highly recommend doing so.